Hello, everybody. It is Ask Jesse Answer time. Two great questions this week, and we'll jump right into them. Another one comes to us from Heather Mayton, and Heather asks, what would you tell your clients who come to you who is having a difficult time where she just lost her uncle and cousin, and then while at those funerals her father commits suicide, now a month later finds out her mom is also dying since January 2016? Heather, I can't tell you exactly what I would tell them because every situation is going to be different. Every person's different. So what I would tell one client with that situation might be different than I tell another client with that situation, because it depends on the client, where they're at, what emotional state they're in, where they're at mentally, all those types of things. And if I was to give someone some general advice, if I was to give someone who I didn't know their specific story, their specific background, or a lot about them, if I was just to offer them some general guidance from a loving place, it would be this. It would be that I don't want to pretend like I understand why everything happens. I don't think any of us can really make that claim. What I do know, and I do believe, is that everything that does happens, it happens for some reason. For some greater reason than just the tragedy of the loss or the pain or any of that there is some deeper reason to it. And I firmly believe that each and every human being on this planet gets to decide in part what that reason is. Meaning that if I were to give some loving advice to this person, I would tell them that this is going to mean something in their life. One way or the other, it's going to mean something. And I encourage you to choose what it means to you. Because oftentimes what will happen is we will allow our tragedies to decide the meaning. And then what happens with that is the meaning is something of pain, constant loss. The loss becomes the meaning of why I can never move on, why I hate life, why I can never find love, why, it's our ultimate excuse. I can't do this because this person died. I can't do this because this person got sick. My life would have been so different had this not have happened. It doesn't have to be that way. If you've been following me on social media at all for any time, or you've taken any of my programs, you'll have probably heard me say that. And if you haven't, I'll repeat it just now. And if you've heard me say it again, I apologize for the repeat. And it's still, I think, just as pertinent that it be stated that I firmly believe that how we choose to live our life after someone we loved is gone is ultimately how we choose to honor them. And how we choose to honor them is ultimately the legacy that they will leave in our life. So, meaning that they can have, if I was to give this person some loving advice, I would tell them that this person or persons who they've lost is either going to have a legacy of pain, a legacy of something else, and you're going to decide that legacy. And I would encourage that person to form a meaning in a way that gives them an empowering meaning that leads to an empowering legacy. Perhaps that inspires that person to be an advocate about how important it is to learn to love oneself. So, to help fight suicide, or perhaps it's that person becomes an advocate about treasuring each moment. Maybe they start a blog about how precious and fragile life is in the hopes of inspiring others to really make the most of the time when they have it. That's what I would offer. So I hope that helps, and I hope that it gives some answer and some clarity. And I would also, if I was to talk to a client about something like that, I would definitely send them lots of love and healing energy while they go through their challenging times. Okay? Number 2 comes to us from Kristen Bentoncourt, and Kristen asks, I have a wonderful career as an X-ray tech. Oh, awesome. I've worked with a few X-ray techs before. And I love what I do, but I've found that I'm far more fascinated and passionate about marine biology. Very cool. I would love to go back to school and pursue marine bio but funds and time are keeping me from doing that. I feel like I need a better plan to help me get started, but not sure what the first step would be. Kristen, everybody's first step is going to be different. And if it were me, I actually had this conversation not that long ago. If it were me and I were to go back to school, if I want to change something, I wouldn't even go to school. I would look into other alternatives, an online program, some other form of education. And the reason is this, again, this is just my 2 cents. In this day and age where technology seems to be so available, I often think back on my education I got and my expensive education, which is, from what I understand, those educations are getting to be even more expensive. And I think, okay, well, what did I really get from that piece of paper? More than anything, I got the life experiences out of it. And I would never change that time I had when I was an undergrad in, 19, 20, 22 years old. If I were to go back, though, now and want to get an education, I wouldn't do school. I would not do a formal school program. And the reason is because I think that there's just I think first and foremost, a lot of, at least in the United States, the big school systems, universities, they're a business first and foremost. I think in California, the University of California system is like in the top 10 employers. I recently went and visited my campus the weekend before, and I couldn't believe how many brand new state-of-the-art buildings were there, and thinking, And I'm sure there's lots of things that need funds and so on and so forth, and the educators they have there are well worth the salaries they're getting. I'm not dismissing that at all. What I'm saying is it's a supply and demand system, right, where there's a lot more supply and availability of education out there probably than ever before. There's some online programs that are fantastic, or you could look at a curriculum, what would be covered in a course, and start doing your own prerequisites. I think back to my own education, how much of my piece of paper that I got was based off of going to class, getting assigned a list of reading, and then going to lectures, and then taking what I learned in the lectures and the reading and combine them and producing this test, and based off what letter I got on that test would determine if I got a degree. Well, all those books you can find in a library, on Amazon, all those types of things, right? Lectures, you can't replicate that, but you can also get a lot of supplemental. I knew plenty of students when I was in school who just didn't even go to lecture. They said, what's the point? They just pull from the reading. Right? I knew plenty of students who didn't read the books and just went to lecture, and they still got their degree. Well, did they really learn all this stuff? I don't know. And maybe they just learned to take a test. So if you're really serious about learning, I would look into alternative ways of learning. There's going to be a lot of things out there, and there's going to be a lot of other modalities that you can get this information from where it doesn't require a full-time commitment with school. Then as you do that and you advance your own learning, you get further along into it, maybe you decide that you want to go back to school and do a formal program. At which time, awesome. I'm sure you'll be able to figure out a way to prioritize your time and make it happen. All right, that's it for this week. Thank you everybody for the great questions. I hope you all found value in this, and as always, I appreciate your comments and shares. I love hearing what you think, so leave a comment below, let me know. And we'll be doing this again. I put the post up Fridays at 8 a.m. I'll be answering your questions this time next Monday, all right? Take care, everybody, and have an amazing week. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.